special episode. But I also want to preface this by saying trigger warning for people who may not be comfortable with this conversation or not ready to hear a conversation that pertains to this, whether you're dealing with it or you have a loved one who is dealing with this. It might be beneficial if you do have a loved one who is dealing with today's topic. Maybe you can find something that would be useful to you to help support your loved one. But before we do all of that, I need you guys to stop this video, like, subscribe, comment, hit that bell notification so you don't miss any episodes. And if you're listening to the audio version, I need you to give us a 5-star if that's how you feel. If not, that's fine. Say it with your chest. And then leave a comment. Let us know what we're doing, how we're doing, and what we can do better. Because it's uncomfortable growth, and we're always trying to grow and evolve and be better. Okay, so with that being said, that was a mouthful.
Sure was.
We have a special guest today with us. Her name is Enid.
Hi everyone. How are you?
And of course, as you guys know, with our special guests, with any guest that we have, we ask that they share 3 things about them that don't tie to what they do for work, but more about them personally, so that you can feel like you know them too, and you can enjoy this episode with us. So, Enid, what are some 3 things about you that you would like to share with everyone?
Alright, so 3 things about me. Passion, I would say organizing. I started an organization business.
Ooh,
We're all Virgos,
yes.
So we get it.
You started a business?
Yeah.
Hey.
What?
Anyways,
yeah, my passion would be organizing. I really like it. I love
I'm still not over the fact that Peggy knows that's like my love language. Organizing.
The whole minute.
I've literally organized all my sister. I help them purge. I help them organize. I help them make their lives easier.
So you get it.
Wait, I was supposed to tell you?
Everything has a home, a purpose.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I'm in space, this is not minimalism, by the way. This is so out of my character. If you look at my space. Because somebody said, you don't never put color in your house. And I'm like, all right, throw up color in my house.
No,
but anyways, I cannot believe this bitch didn't say nothing. And you're going to get to your next two.
No. For my defense, my level of stress has been super high and my memory has sucked ass. I'm very good at telling. How long have you had this business?
Since COVID.
First of all, wait.
No. Since I was in LA, so what, 2020? Yeah, 2020.
Well, I didn't start getting close to her until literally
to her defense, yeah. Because we just moved back a year ago. Sorry.
And 2, what I have been doing, which I haven't done in a while, usually I take that time where I tag a bunch of businesses, shout out businesses. Yeah,
I
haven't done that in a while, but I tagged her business.
Has. So it's your fault for not clicking on all the businesses she
First
tagged.
off, do you know how many she be tagging? by the time I get to the first page, I'm exhausted.
She's like, tired. Just having me to lay down.
That's too much social media for me. I'm gonna exit out because especially if I like the brand, I'm scrolling for hours.
Right.
But oh my god, I'm gonna talk about that after.
We will. We'll chat about that. Right. So, passion would be that organization. A trigger for me is a person that always makes excuses and doesn't take accountability for stuff. So that bothers me. And a pet peeve is when people drink or chew too loudly. It bothers my soul.
And Peggy doesn't bother you?
She hasn't been around me long enough.
Well, I'm near her boyfriend all the time. So
he
chomps.
Loud. And he annoys me when he's I'm like, babe, chill.
So I guess I've got.
I gotta find the voice notes. Peggy be like, so. And I'm just like, why didn't you just wait to send the voice note?
You know that time period too, I had braces, so it made it worse. So my mouth felt heavy. So Jessica's like, why does it sound like you're always showing my fault? And I had a list that got added on with the braces.
Oh
so
no,
I stopped that.
It was all bad.
Yeah. So to add to that, I don't want to steal your shit because
all
3 of those things are so relevant to my life. But the chewing part, you know what's another pet peeve of mine? When people use metal utensils and scrape pots. Or bite their utensils. I'm gonna punch you.
The pot. I think it's the plate when it's the plate.
That's why I don't like ceramic plates and bowls. I hate ceramic plates and bowls.
Those are both bad.
But yeah. Oh my god, that's so funny. Guess what, guys? There's one more thing that she didn't say. She's a fucking Virgo.
I am.
Like all of us here.
This is our 4th Virgo, 5th Virgo.
Yeah, I know y'all were rolling your eyes like, oh God, they always end up with a Virgo on the DM podcast. Y'all love us, so it don't matter.
Exactly. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, this is a trigger episode. We will be discussing infertility, and yeah, it's a lot. I'm prepared but not prepared because I have a lot of loved ones who deal with this, currently deal with it, have dealt with it. There is a upside to this, but in the in-between time, there's a lot that happens. And I think being educated on that is so important, just so that you can show up for the people that you love. So, Peggy, you can go because I've been talking.
No, it's fine. Before you ask any questions, so for those of you who are unaware about infertility, what it is, infertility for humans, in general, is defined
as
what? For humans. I can't speak for if animals have issues.
Girl,
I was thinking of. I didn't even ever think of animals. I know it's messed up, but like. I didn't think of an animal with infertility.
I don't know.
But no, I appreciate you thinking of the animals, I guess. You know. All right.
The animals.
In general, infertility is defined as not being able to get pregnant or conceive after 1 year or longer of unprotected sex. Because fertility in women is known to decline steadily with age, and hence, prior to our last topic that we discussed about this need for people constantly asking women, like, when are you gonna get pregnant? And that's why we always say, do not stop doing that. Teach your young children to stop doing that. I have teenagers who are unaware that ask, you gonna have kids? Do you want kids? Like, you don't know what I'm going through.
Teach your parents too not to do that.
Yeah, so parents.
Oh my God.
That's a trigger for you.
Please. Heavy trigger.
Let's learn to be respectful and kind to others because we don't know what people are going through. We don't know what their situation is, so stop asking. Now, if that person decides to indulge in that information willingly, that's different. But don't upright show up to a woman and be like, when you gonna have a baby? You don't want kids? What's wrong with you?
I feel like for some people, especially the older generation, it's just like a segue to a conversation. Like,
it is not.
Instead of just saying like, hey, how are you doing? It's like, so when you having a baby? Like,
right.
Babies are just like such an easy topic to have. But I deal with that on a daily basis. I don't know if you know, but I do not want children. But my family just, I've been saying this since I was 14 years old. They don't fucking accept it. So they're constantly asking me. Thanksgiving, they asked me. The wedding, they asked. And I almost cussed out my stepmom. But that's another story for another day. So yeah, I just feel like people, especially older people, they need to find other ways to segue into conversations. Because like asking women, especially women that you perceive like, why aren't you having a kid yet?
Right.
Asking them that question is just so insensitive.
Definitely is.
The last stat I want to throw in before you ask your question. So the question that is on the CDC website, is fertility a common problem? The people who are in charge of this website, yes, in the United States, among heterosexual women aged 15 to 49, with no prior births, about 1 in 5, about 19% are unable to get pregnant after 1 year of trying. Also, 1 in 4, 26% women in this group have difficulty getting pregnant or pregnancy carrying to full term. So you can get pregnant in some situations and not carry the baby to full term. So those are some of the numbers I want to share with you guys if you are unaware. What's your first question?
So I don't know, Enid, I think it'd be more appropriate for you to kind of just like start talking about, so obviously the conversation is infertility and some of the questions are just like straight into it, so I just kind of want to give like a backstory.
Yeah, for sure. So for everyone listening, this is my first time actually like vocalizing and speaking about this openly, so if I choke up here and there, like it comes with it. But a little bit from my story is infertility is new to me. I had no idea I was dealing with it. My husband and I got pregnant May 2020, and I ended up carrying our daughter to 22 weeks. And 22 weeks, her heart just stopped. So I had a late term, I guess you could say abortion technically, but it's not. You know, that's a whole other story, but yeah, I had a late-term miscarriage. That's a word right there. Late-term miscarriage. And then since that happened, we've been trying to get pregnant since then, and it hasn't been successful, but it's that's when I found out, like, oh wow, like, let's do more testing, more this, and kind of like educated myself on like what's the problem, let's get to the root of it. And I am now dealing with infertility because of that.
When you and your husband decided to grow your family, what knowledge did you have about infertility, if any?
Yeah, so my knowledge was limited. Like, we grow up as women being told that, like, after you turn a certain age, I don't know why the number 35 sticks in my head, but like 35, after you turn 35, a lot of women have difficulties getting pregnant, or they're at, the word is high risk, at like having children with disabilities or anything like that, but just difficulties overall with pregnancy. So that's all I knew about it. And I knew, I don't know if this is even true, but like, the more you're on birth control or something like that, the more it affects you, like, being able to get pregnant later. And I was on birth control for a really long time. So that's the only thing that I really knew about it, and I wasn't educated at all. As far as, like, I never thought, I guess I could say, like, it being an issue for me, because I didn't know anything really about it.
I will say, as far as like infertility, the number 35 is relevant because that's what doctors tell you.
Yeah.
That's what doctors always tell you, especially now. Like, when I go to doctors, like, are you sure you don't? No, just get rid of it. You mentioned something about the 22 weeks, right? When that happens, because that's like halfway.
Yeah.
That's the halfway point. After you had to, what they call it, I don't know if this is the proper term, but it's called an abortion afterwards.
Yeah,
right?
it's called
it's not a stillbirth, but it's
no,
like
no, it's like a DNC or something like that. Like, they dilate you.
Yes.
You have to give birth to the baby, and
I think with some, and I think this is probably educational for men as well, your body still goes through the whole process as if you gave birth to a baby.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if this happened to you, but like, for some women, you lactate, you go through the postpartum and all these things.
That I didn't know.
Yeah, you literally, your body's like, oh, we had a baby, and so here we are. Like, I'm gonna help you gather what you need to. So for you, did that happen? And if it did, and if you're willing to share, how long did it last?
I would say that I didn't deal with any like post like lactation situations, but for me, I think it was the emptiness of like giving birth and not feeling that space filled anymore, and definitely postpartum issues, depression, you feel all that because your body's willing and preparing to bring life, and when that's not there, you literally feel the void. So
I'm trying to not reference other people that I know that go through this, because I have a lot of people that have gone through this. There is the rainbow at the end. It will happen. I mean, in any form of way, because I think some people also, when they're trying to grow their family, they X out the whole adoption or surrogacy. If that's something you truly want for yourself, then I think you should exhaust all your options or whatever. I know a few people who I think, and I mentioned this earlier, but I know someone who, after being with their spouse for years, and just kind of X out the conversation of children, and just let's just enjoy each other, let's enjoy our marriage, let's just be present for each other, not put the stress of baby, because if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, I still love you, I still want to be with you. That's not gonna take away from our marriage. And they unexpectedly got pregnant, and so and I think for her, I can't speak for everyone, but for her, I think the stress of trying is what prevented it. And I can only assume that that's not a fact. But I think when she was stress free, they were in a great financial space. They were kind of cohesive with each other. It just happened, and she didn't want to believe it. No, this is not happening. No, I'm not pregnant. No.
It's hard.
And then you find yes, because that is the most devastating part about infertility. Finding out you are, but then the fear of this might not be full term.
Absolutely.
And should I get my hopes up? Should I start the nursery? Should I give this baby a name? Should I even care to know the gender? Like, there's so many things that prevent you from being excited about pregnancy, that you can't really enjoy it. You don't enjoy it until you actually have the baby in your hand sometimes.
Yeah.
You're just like, nope, there's no name for the baby. There's nothing. Like, we're not doing that because, like, there's that fear in the back of your head. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was going to say, I think pregnancy in general by itself is scary.
Oof, yeah.
And I know sometimes me and you will share, like, stuff randomly we find on Instagram, like that girl. I don't know who it is. Someone has a list. Like, that list.
Why.
Like, it's a list. And it is... People say, you know, we need to talk about it more because people just say, oh, the great joys of having kids, but there's scary parts to it.
Yeah.
But the scary part shouldn't stop you from wanting to have a child. If you don't want to have a kid, you don't want to have a kid. But number 35, when you said it, I rolled my eyes in my head because I remember growing up, it's like 35 was this cutoff line.
For everything. For
everything. Like, so we die after 35? What's the thing? And then, like, my mom said when she had me at 35. And doctors she told me, I know my mother likes to exaggerate stories sometimes, but she told me doctors were suggesting that, you know, just terminate the pregnancy because at 35, child may likely have Down syndrome, all these other conditions.
Yeah.
But I turned out perfectly fine. And so I'm like, well, if that is your example, why are you shut up.
I was waiting for, like, a friend to comment over here.
No, I just look at the camera because that's how I'm going to cut it.
Shut up. And then... literally, it's like you're putting all this pressure on me. I don't like that because now I have favors like, you know, the longer you wait, you know, it's harder, you know, to carry your baby. You're just gonna experience your bones. I'm like, what about my bones? You tell me my bones are gonna fall apart because I carry a baby. Like I'm like, y'all gotta stop. I know part of it's cultural too.
Yeah.
It's definitely culture.
Plays a huge role.
We're all 3 different cultures, and we share that.
They share the same thing. This pressure on women to have kids by a particular age, anything before 35, anything after
regardless
that.
Regardless of your financial stability, your mental stability, like, or if you even have a man in the picture, like, it doesn't matter. Just hurry up and have a baby. And I think that's just so, like, traumatizing. But before I cut you off, you mentioned that we all mentioned 35.
Yeah.
My mom, fun fact, had me at 42, my brother at 44, and my sister at 46.
What?
And she had us, I'm not bragging by any means. I'm just saying, like, she brags about it. She's like, I didn't have any epidural. And I'm just like, that's not going to get you a gold star. Now you got back problems. Like, and so I hate when people put a restriction on age. To some degree, it is true. Yeah. Because, like, you're born with all your eggs, which is so crazy to me. And as you hit puberty and everything, you
start losing one.
You start losing.
I want to piggyback off that once you're done.
No, I'm done. But, like, I don't know how many eggs we have, but by 35, I'm guessing is when it's supposed to be depleted.
Right.
That's the crazy.
That's what they make
it goes
feel
down,
about.
But they make it seem like 35, 0. Like, what?
No.
You still got them, but it's not as much as you expect it to be.
Yeah.
But
but when you guys, like, spoke about that, like, we're all born with eggs and, like, infertility, right? You don't know anything about it. One thing that I wish that doctors would practice and do more, we all get PAPs, we all get checkups. Right. So there's something that I learned after my situation, like, these 3 letters, AMH. It's the anti-Müllerian hormone, right? And we all have it. So AMH, we all as women have, like, a level of, what's your AMH level? So that is your egg reserve hormone. So that's something that I feel like should be tested as a regular, like,
insurance is not going to cover it.
Sadly, they won't. But like, think about it. Like, if I would have known that, because that's my issue. I'll be open about it. My AMH level is very low, so my egg reserve is low. And I'm piggybacking off we're all born with, like, a certain amount of eggs, because had I known that my AMH level was already decreasing, like, before I got married and all that, I would have had a child with my husband ages ago, before I got engaged, before I got married. Like, that's a man I knew I'm going to be with and build a life with. Yeah. I would have had children with him before and not waited all this time. But, like, that's something that if you as a woman out there are, like, older in your 30s, or not even in your, like, late 20s, like, advocate for yourself and ask that your AMH level gets tested, because that is going to help you plan if you want to be a mom or not. Like, it's very important. And I was very like mad that I had no idea about that before.
And it sucks because like our parents didn't know these things. And to be fair,
I don't think they
my
even
mom,
had the technology.
I don't think my mom knows that you're born with like eggs. I don't know if my mom even knows that you lose eggs. Like I don't even think that's like a concept that was discussed.
It was taught like that.
And she used to be like a semi like midwife. Like she used to help women in Cape Verde help deliver babies. Her and my cousin's mom. And I'm just like, I don't think my mom knows these things. And so like the insensitivity of asking like when you're gonna have children, I give her the grace, and I give all the older women in my family grace, but to an extent. Like I've been speaking no children for years, and I'm so protective of the people that I love. So when people that I love I see is uncomfortable because somebody's asking them a question that is regarding regarding them having children, but they're suffering from infertility, but not openly to everyone, I'm like Mama Bear. I'm just like, no, we're not asking those questions. We're not doing that. And then I think when I do that though, is when it heightens the person's thing that they want to hide. Because I'm so aggressive about it. So somebody's like, why are you so passionate about this?
No,
and it's just like, they don't know what this person is going through. But I think I'm adding light to it now.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so people, I think we all have great intentions, right? And we all want to be protective of the people that we love. But I think you need to have that discussion with the person that you love, how you want to show up for them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very important. And also, last thing you said, I know I'm going back here, but like with the amount of eggs you're born, so all three of us are not born with the same amount of eggs.
No.
You could have 100,000, you could have 80,000, I could have 60,000, and like you said, every cycle we like lose eggs. So you're not born with like as much eggs as the other woman. So for some women waiting till like 40 is okay, but for some waiting till like 28 is not okay. So that's why that's
also
important
true.
too.
Oh, that's good to know, because honestly, and that's why proper education about reproductive health is very important, because honestly I assumed that we're all born with like a million eggs as babies. Once the body decides that we're going to be females, the eggs are there. And I already knew to a certain extent, like every month I lose an egg. I don't know how many eggs, because sometimes your body can shoot out 2 eggs. You don't know that. And as you get older, your body does shoot out more eggs because it's pretty much trying to get rid of it. That's why some women later in life, they tend to have triplets or twins, because body's shooting out more eggs than usual. So so that's, I assume, so you saying that, like, that's good to know. Some people might assume like, oh, all women are born with 80,000 eggs. No, like you said, you might have 60, she has 40,
a million. Like, you don't know the number.
We don't.
I just threw that number out there, by the way.
But no one knows the number unless there's an actual test done, like you said, to see the levels, to see if it's high enough or low enough, and if you want to decide to have children, maybe the low level that you may have, you may start the process quicker. But no one's saying go have kids with someone just because your levels are low.
Freeze your eggs if you don't have a person.
If you don't have a person, you have the funds, you can afford it, insurance can cover it, freeze your eggs. Don't go out here giving yourself headaches, lady, with dudes who don't want to be fathers. We're not saying that at all.
So as far as advocating on top of infertility, so I found out I had PCOS through my sister. So my sister went and changed her PCP at a different hospital due to her insurance, which I found was way better anyways. So they go through her chart, and I was like, all right. So they're just like reading off stuff, and they're like, okay, so you have PCOS, and she was like, what the fuck is that? And they was like, it's on your chart. And she was like, no one ever told me. They put it on her fucking chart and never told her.
That's terrible.
And then she started reading off to me, because then now I'm doing the research, because I want to like be educated on my sister and whatever she's going through. And everything that was listed, I was like, I got that. I have that. I have that. Next appointment, I go, I'm like, hey, can I be tested for PCOS? They test me, but then come back. I'm like, oh, it's on your chart. And then nobody fucking told me it was on my chart.
Same thing. That's terrible.
And I'm just like, there's so many things that unfortunately my mom didn't know, and so I didn't know to ask the questions. But like whenever you request something and they're like, oh, I don't think you need that, I'm like, I want you to write that down. I want you to write that
you have to advocate for yourself, because they don't care. They're not going to do it.
Exactly. And I think I don't know like what the series of questions you should ask to get to the point of like understanding your body if you ever decide to like have children, or you're ready to have children. but definitely taking the test to see, like, you said ACH, right?
AMH, and it's a blood test, and then they can test that hormone with your blood.
Well, before you answer the next question, what I want to add is, being that from your sister's experience and yours, that's why when I go to my doctor's appointment, my checkup's supposed to be 30 minutes. I end up being there for an hour because I'm asking my doctor every question. I'm making sure he or she does what they're supposed to do, because, guys, the insurance that you're paying for, and I don't even care if it's free health insurance, what could save your life? Because there's certain things that your body's going through you don't know, and sometimes when your body finally sends the signal that something is wrong, sometimes, God forbid, it's too late. So it's better to check for everything. I don't care. I tell my doctor, run the whole panel. Run it. Run the whole panel. Insurance will pay for it. That's what I'm paying for insurance for. Run the whole panel. I don't care. Like, the fact that they put something on your chart but don't tell you what it is concerning to me. Like, why are you a doctor? I don't think that's cool. If you're going to put something in my chart, you need to explain to me what it is. And obviously, it's part of my health record. I need to know this. So moving forward, I know what to do to, so not knowing, guys, it could be really, and I think that's what's really concerning when in the Black and brown community, especially as women. Like, I know we're more attuned to our bodies. Anytime something's wrong, we're going to the doctors. More quicker than men. We usually gotta push our significant others, like, go to the doctor. But for us, it's like we gotta be on higher alert, because doctors usually don't pay attention to us, because they think, like, oh, they're being overly dramatic, and let me just write this off to them. Be on point with your health, guys, because if you're not taking care of yourself, who is? So that's what I wanted to throw out.
We wanted to ask, what were some things you experienced with friends and family that made the journey hard or difficult? If you're willing to share.
No, of course. Okay, so with friends and family, I wrote a few notes down. So.
Oh, you're better than me, because I'll be over here just like blabbering. I'm like,
I want to be intentional of like how I answer things. So some things with like friends and family that are annoying is like ask the family. I'm Puerto Rican, so I'm expected to have like 5 kids already by like 25. So them asking like, when are you getting pregnant? Like, what are you waiting for? You're getting old. So those comments with family is tough. Something that's really tough for me is I'm very close to my mother, and like seeing her with my nieces and nephew like eats away at me so much, because like I want her to share that love. And no offense to my brothers, but like I know that my mom, like with my children, because they're from her daughter, like will hit different. And I feel like wanting to see that, like that affects me the most when it comes to family. As far as friends, this is a very, very like open and honest moment with friends. What hurts me the most is seeing their pregnancy announcements, seeing like, that definitely, like you are on, like you're on both sides, like you have very mixed feelings. You're happy because you love your friends, like you're excited for them, but a little part of you dies every time there's an announcement, because what it feels like everyone around you is getting what they want, and you're not. And to continue with the friends, like a lot of my friends before I even got pregnant were already moms, so I had great examples, and looking forward to joining that, and that was like taken away from me. And then like seeing the friends that were pregnant around the same time that you are, when you look at their kids. I have 2 friends, one on my side, one on my husband's side, and like we were all due around the same time, and seeing them, it's like, wow, our daughter would have been that age, like, so that hits differently for me, and it's tough. So for a moment I isolated myself from that, attending kids events too, like kids parties, like you're the couple with no kids, so it feels uncomfortable to be there, and it's like, it's hard and it's triggering, and like it was worse for me before, and I've learned to like cope with my feelings better, seek help, and like am able to talk about it now. But like just being around that, and kind of like being hard on yourself because you're excited for your friends, but also broken because you see everyone is getting pregnant but you.
I have a friend who was dealing with infertility, And when I got the announcement that family members were having babies, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, this person's having a baby. And I stopped myself from sharing that with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a friend of mine. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I don't even want to trigger her. She's still kind of going through the postpartum. It's not a topic that she wants to hear right now. And
right.
I'm going to be delicate in that way. But the excitement for the people that I love kind of had to be put to the back burner. And I was okay with that because at the end of the day, I wanted to be present for my friend and be sensitive to what she's going through. But yeah, I made a conscious choice, like, we're not telling her about this pregnancy.
My friend and I, that we were like 3 days, our due dates were 3 days apart, I can feel that from her, that exact feeling that you just described. Because it's like, she's so excited and we were so excited together and like talking about it, and then we no longer share that, so I can feel her like not willing to be like, sharing that much and being sensitive in my feelings. And I'll tap into that like later of like how grateful I am for like the friends I have, but like you can feel it. It feels like they're like guarding you in a way.
Right.
So
she hasn't called me out on it, but I think it's because like if she does, then I have to actually explain that. And she's gonna be like, nah, I don't want to hear it. But
I mean, personally, I haven't dealt with anyone trying to get pregnant or anything like that. But I am like when me and Enid went and had our dinner together, she was starting to share it a little bit with me, and I felt like, oh my God, I feel special, because that's a sensitive thing to talk about and openly talk about in general, because it's like, especially you wanted that, and it didn't happen, right? And I can only imagine, like, I've heard stories, like, the closest to it I ever remember, I was too young to understand, I was like 15, a woman in the church that me and my family was attending, we knew she was pregnant, baby shower and everything. And then, I don't know how far along she was, I just knew her belly, she was showing. And then, she lost the baby. She ended up having her rainbow baby, like, a few years later, but something triggered her. Like, she started coming around the church again, and someone came into church with their baby, newborn. And I think the child was being presented. And I started hearing her crying. But I didn't understand, like, I'm 15, like, and then it dawned on me later, like, oh, she lost her baby, so that would be a trigger seeing someone's newborn. Because in her mind, she's thinking, like, that should be me too. Absolutely. Presenting my child. So at a very young age, I didn't fully understand, but I connected the two. So it made me realize, like a lot of women around the world are dealing with that, and I think due to social media too, with the rainbow babies. I first for the line, and I'm like, what is a rainbow baby? But then due to the pages I follow, it is explaining what a rainbow baby is, and they have support systems for women who've dealt with loss. I think that is so important to have like a support network for that. And like even my therapist, she recently dealt with that. I don't remember if I told you, like she went MIA for a little bit. She took a break. She told me she was pregnant, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm excited, because I was telling her, like, I'm ready to have kids. Am I worried that I might not be able to have them because I waited too long? Yes, but I don't know if I'll regret it, because I've completed certain things that I wanted to, even though he was like, you have to have kids at this time, like, I don't want kids right now. But I go on vacation, I tell her, like, oh yeah, da-da-da. I get an email, she's not feeling well, she has an emergency. All right, cool. I'm like, hope everything's okay. And then boom, 3 days later, get the email. Like, she was very open. I'm like, this would take too much for me to send this email to any of my patients. Right. Explaining that she lost her child, that she's going on leave for like 3 months. If I want to change providers, I can do that. I'm like, nope, I'm gonna stick beside her, my therapist. And then, her explaining that and talking about it, and comfortable enough to even talk about it. Right. And I even said, like, I know I've been talking about babies a lot because I'm ready to have one. I hope that's not making you uncomfortable. Yeah. Like,
it probably made her even more relatable to you. Yeah. For her to be so, like, open to share that.
Yeah. I'm like, I hope I'm not making you uncomfortable because I'm sharing what I want. But you was in the process of experiencing that, and that happened. So it's like, that takes a lot of therapy on her end for herself, too, to be able to deal with patients and deal with what they're going through, and you're dealing with your own shit, so that's a lot. But I think being open and you're in the state to talk about it, and that's another thing too, when people are going through things like this, we have to give them space to go through their emotions.
Yeah.
You cannot expect someone to
personal.
go through something like, and then within a matter of weeks or a month, like already in their face. Give them time. You can check in on them to make sure they're good. If they need anything, that's fine. But give them grace. Give them the space to go through their emotions. And then I trust and believe when they are ready, they will contact and say, "Hey, let's link up. Let's do whatever."
You saying that? So when my friend went through that, I didn't know what was an acceptable amount of being there and an acceptable amount of space.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, am I being a shitty friend because I'm giving her too much space? Am I not giving her enough space? I was like so conflicted, and I would, contact her husband and like, any updates, like, is today a good day to call, or is today a good day to stop by? And he would kind of fill me in, but then there was times that he's like, yo, she keeps telling me she's okay, and I know she's not okay. I need you to kind of check in, like, because she's probably like, I don't want to worry about my husband, so I'm just gonna tell him I'm okay. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because the husband does also go through this thing.
They do.
And I think people forget that too. Like, yes, the woman by far goes through a lot, but the husband also is dealing with infertility, dealing with the miscarriage, dealing with, whatever.
It's their loss as well.
Exactly. And so he was very transparent. He's like, I'm not okay. He wants a legacy. He wants family. He wants to see what him and his wife look like in a little human. And his wife was like, let's just adopt. And he's like, at one point he was a little insensitive. I was like, I want my own kid. And so now he's just like, the stress that she goes through is probably not even worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth like being pushy about having your like
Biological
child. Like, if my wife says she's okay with adoption, let's exercise that.
Yeah. It takes growth and time for them to understand that, though. I can definitely relate to that part there.
But what advice would you give to people who have loved ones dealing with infertility? How can friends, family be? I have dyslexia. How can friends and family best show up for the couples who are going through the journey of growing their family? And I intentionally said couples because I think people always forget about the husbands.
Yeah, for sure. I think that you made a valid point about like you wanted to reach out but you don't know what to say. Educating yourself on like what's appropriate to say. I'm telling you, like, even on Instagram, there's pages that you can find out what not to say.
Right.
One page that I love is, like, I think it's called Infertile Mamas or something like that. And, like, just knowing what to say, like, thinking that you saying, like, oh, you're still young, you still have time. You don't know what the person's situation is. You don't know if they have time. And you don't know if they'll be able to ever have a child. So it's, like, making sure you're very mindful of what you say is definitely like top tier. Also, another thing would be giving your friends grace. Like, I am very grateful for my friends. Infertility and miscarriages and like a loss changes you as a person. I am not the same person I was 2 years ago. Like, I'm different. You just change completely, and it's not your fault. It's just who you are now. So having grace with them, I'm very appreciative of all my girls like understanding what I'm going through and not taking it personal when like you don't reach out as much anymore, and they're the ones reaching out. And it's been 2 years, but like what's the time? There's no timestamp, right? Nope. So I'm appreciative of that, and also just like not educating yourself, not asking insensitive questions, and don't assume that you know what they're going through or that you can relate to them.
Right.
Because you can't. So unless you're personally going through it, don't ever try to make them feel as if you understand. Just be there and listen. And I will say that sometimes the husbands are forgotten about, like you said. Gratefully, like with our situation, we did end up having a baby shower. I know you know about this, but I don't know if you know, but like we had a baby shower early because third trimester I wasn't going to be able to fly back home. So we did it early, and then like a few weeks after our baby shower is when everything went down. So like the amount of love that my husband and I received, like from our friends and family, just like by telling us that they're here. That's what I appreciated the most. Like, we're here for you. whatever you need. But none of them made us feel as if they knew what we were going through. But just always checking in, having those conversations and being there to like open up with them, or like if they open up to you about it, like learning about it more so you have stuff to talk to them about and relate to them. So
I can say from the back end of it, because when that happened, I had just started talking to him, but and because he said, oh, if you can come to the shower, because I had an event that day, I'm like, I won't be able to make it, but here's something for the baby shower. And then when he told me, I was just laying in bed shocked. I'm like, are you serious right now? And I'm like, don't play with me. He's like, no, I'm serious. But within the last 2 years, what I'll say is like, you know, when we was discussing how they have the group chats, Butter is very mindful of like when they discuss, like when the other guys are discussing children, and he's like, sometimes I'm like, I hope they realize, you know, Ed in the group chat, because I'm like, yes, you are sharing your happiness that you have a child, but your friend.
Yeah, when we went through our situation, he left the chat because it's like an uncle's chat, and they share pictures of their kids and all that, and like it fucked with him.
Yeah,
like, it hurts him. So like, I appreciate Butter for that.
Yeah, he would say that. I'm like, have you like random like, have you checked in on them and stuff? Because you know it wasn't my place yet. Like I knew Enid and Ed, but I wasn't on that level yet because I literally started talking to Butter, and we haven't had anything outings at that point as a couple because it was middle of COVID. Like, there
we were still in LA too.
Yeah, we were in the middle of COVID, and that's when I was like, where are they at? And Butter's like, they're not in Boston. I'm like, oh, they were just there. He's like, no, they had the baby shower here because family and friends are here, but they live in LA or whatever. And I was like, well, just check in on them, see if they need anything, but give them their space. I'm like, because whenever someone's going through anything, you know that thing when you said, like, we don't know how to act. We're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I feel awkward.
Yeah.
I don't want to overstep my boundaries, or also not let the person feel like I don't care.
Yeah.
Because it's like we don't know how to show emotions anyway. Sometimes
I was
like,
just about to say that I don't know if this is something that you go through, but me and Peggy are like so awkward with emotions. Like our love language is like calling each other vulgar names. Like I was like, hey girl. She's like, excuse me, who the hell is this? Like, who are you talking to? And I was like, yeah, you right, you a bitch.
Hey bitch.
There was one time I just got a memory too. It was like you voice text. Yeah. And it said, instead of saying ho, it said how. And then she sent me another voice and she's like, Siri, you know her name is Ho. Don't try to change that shit now. and that's comfortable to us.
Yeah.
So when we try to show up for our friends, it's like, it's so... I try not to focus on how I'm feeling. Right. But unfortunately, I'm feeling uncomfortable because I'm like, I'm not a hugger. I'm not really like...
And you don't know if that person wants to be touched.
And they probably don't want to be touched. I'll tell you that.
100%.
Like, I'm a person that I didn't want anyone on me. But just extending and being like, hey, I'm here if you need me. Know that I'm here. I'm giving you your space. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm here. And then just knowing that my friends are there, like, or that someone's there is enough. Most of the time.
Yeah. Like, I'm still struggling with that. Like, I'm still struggling with showing up for my friends.
I think just letting them know that you're there and asking them if they need anything. It's just like, that's it. Or like, hey, I know you're going through, you know, your situation, but don't think that just because I haven't hit you up. Or be honest. Like, I don't know what to say to you, but I want you to know that I'm here.
Yeah,
I did that.
Fine. I did that one time. My friend was like, "It's not about you," and I was like, "Bet."
Okay, so your friend.
She was just angry in the moment.
She was angry at the world.
Yeah,
that's okay too.
It's not about you, and I was like,
"No need to go back."
I'm taking that. Oh, I'm taking that to the chin.
Yeah, take it on the chin. But like, yeah, just be like, you know, I don't know the proper thing to say, but I want you to know that I love you and I'm here.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and they know that. You're not just saying it, not like my condolences, so sorry for your loss. Like,
so cringe.
Great, cliche, thank you. I know you probably are, but like, or I'm praying for you. Are you? Do you say you're praying? Do you really pray for me?
It's an automated message to me. Like, I really hate when people say that because I'm like, what did you say?
Some people do though. I believe that some people really do pray for you. Like, I have a friend that says I'm praying for you, and I actually believe she prays for me. Shout out to you, you know who you are. But like, some people just automatically say it, so
yeah.
it's weird.
I'm still processing everything. Because now I'm like, I need to go and, not that I want kids, but I'm just saying, like, be more intentional with my health and, like, asking the questions. Like, I'm thinking of all these things, and I'm also thinking it for, like, my other friends who will have to watch this. They need to watch this, and they need to listen to this, but I think it's important. But to be fair, I really think it's important for the men to listen and watch this.
Yeah.
Because I think men, and I've heard men, and I've had to check some of them, say, like, that's what a woman's body's supposed to do. Like, so the postpartum doesn't seem real to them, or, like, the depression that sometimes happens after, it doesn't seem real to them. Like, the pain that they go through, they're like, oh, it's just, I'm trying to summarize what these people have said, because it's far worse than what I'm saying right now. But they're so desensitized to, like, they're like one of those, like, alpha males that just be like, that's what women's supposed to do, and that's how women's, like, and so, like, not in pertaining to infertility, and I know you're about to go in, so just give me
it's brewing. It's brewing.
Because she's like, first off, but I think it's just some, like, culture, like, older men, like, holy hell, they're brutal. They're brutal. And so, yeah, I'm gonna have to circulate this whole thing to all of them, especially, like, my dad's side of the family.
What I will say is, especially for the men and women, who because there's some women who are ignorant to it too, or because they didn't go through it, they think like, oh, no, you should be fine. Like, the whole concept of, like, what people fail to realize sometimes, when you go through a full-term pregnancy, right, your body spent 9 months going through hormonal changes. You gain weight, your stomach stretched, all this stuff to protect and grow this baby, right? The baby comes out. Your body's not going to go right back to how it was. Like, sitting in the room after my niece gave birth, the nurse literally was telling her.
She texted me, like, I watched the whole thing. I was like, okay, congratulations. I watched the whole thing, and I'm just
traumatized.
Like,
I don't know why you did that. I wouldn't even want to watch the whole
Well, the thing is, but aside from her fiance, she wanted me there as her support. She wanted me to go with her, and, you know, she has the 2-year-old, so my sister stayed home with him.
Yeah.
My intention wasn't to go. My intention was to just bring them there and then leave, but she wanted me to stay. That's the only reason why I stayed.
You can't say no to her.
No. Yeah. So seeing that, being her support, like, because his fiance is holding her from the up top, like, she's squeezing his hand. I'm like, yeah, you do that, because I'm not going to take the abuse from that end. But I was rubbing her back. She said it felt great. Rubbing her back, helping her with all that. And then after the fact, the nurse comes in explaining all the steps, asking all these questions that I never knew they freaking asked people. She's like, just so you know, how long it might take for you to fully go back to how you were prior to birth, about 6 months to a year. Or it may take a little longer depending on
for your organs to move back.
People forget, our organs will shift to accommodate. I'll never forget the day where a teacher told me that her sister was temporarily paralyzed from the waist down because the baby got so comfortable, it literally was resting itself on her spine. I said, the baby did what now? She said, yes. So maybe that might be reason 134. But also keep in mind, for someone who may have gone through pregnancy but didn't go through full term, like you said, your body still will go through those changes because it thinks that you gave birth full term even if you didn't. But the fact of the matter is, your body's still gonna do what it's supposed to do. But at the end of the day, no woman's body's gonna go like that. Whole snapback culture makes me cringe too. Because then you have women feeling the type of way like, oh my God, I'm not back to how I was.
There's already so many other societal things that we have to compete against, and I can't even enjoy my pregnancy because I'm supposed to snap back in an absurd amount of time. Yeah,
so I feel like with men and women, no matter what the culture is, just be mindful of that. A lot of women, you may not be aware of this, because a lot of women may suffer in silence because of this whole pressure on how they're supposed to be during pregnancy, after pregnancy, and on top of the pressure society puts on it. I don't know if you saw that clip I sent to you. It was like a bunch of men inside this indoor playground thingy, and one landed first, and it says, what society doesn't tell women after, like, giving birth. And it's like postpartum depression, and then this other guy with this other man landed on him. It was like a list of things, and then the last thing was societal pressures on women. So there's the societal pressure too. Like, you're already dealing with a loss, right? And then here you have people asking you, "Oh, when you gonna have kids? You're still young. You got time. You don't know that. So that's a pressure you're adding on me that I do not need at the moment."
Or not giving you the grace to grieve in the way that you need to, and asking, "Well, when are you gonna try again?" Like,
right, bruh. I'm gonna try these fists on your face. Stop asking me these questions.
I've been asked dumb questions like that, and it's just like you. At this point, I've learned to just look with like a blank stare and make them feel uncomfortable because I'm not gonna go back and forth.
Right, like, you shouldn't go back and forth.
We said that in the, I don't know what episode it was. We were talking about societal and cultural expectations.
Yeah.
I said, stop sitting with that uncomfortability that people just throw on you. Make them uncomfortable.
Make them uncomfortable.
Yes. Yeah, make them.
Or tell them literally, you shouldn't be asking that.
Yeah.
Why are you asking that? And then make them feel dumb to the point that they never ask that person again.
Right.
100%.
Because at the end of the day, we have to be mindful of people's mental state. And like you guys, and I think it was amazing that you brought it up too. Like sometimes, you know, the partner may be forgotten too. Like husbands are forgotten too in that sense. Because in our minds, we're thinking like the woman obviously is her body.
It's the physical
thing we're going through and the emotion. But the man himself, he may not have gone through it physically, but emotionally and mentally, he's
then still being present for you.
Present for you. So
putting that aside to be strong for you.
Yes. So it's like we have to also be mindful of asking, you know, husbands too or partners like, "Oh, when you guys want to give a go at it, like don't do that."
Yeah.
Be mindful of the husbands too and the partners too of what they're going through. Give them grace, give them time. When they get to that point that they're trying again or they're pregnant again, they will tell you guys that. Don't question it or ask them when they're going to do it. I think in general, I hate when people ask me when I'm going to do something because I'm gonna do it when I want to do it. Stop asking me. Just learn to mind our business.
Yeah, I was gonna say honestly, at the end of the day, it's none of your business.
Just learn to mind our business.
Mind yours.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, it's none of your
say.
business for you to ask.
Right. Yeah. There's nothing else to ask you. Just mind your business. Like, if I want you to know, you will know. Trust me. But if it's not for you to know at that moment, it's none of your business. Stop asking questions. Because trust me, like I tell people, if he or she wanted you to know, you would know.
Right.
But you don't know at the moment, so let it be. Let it fly. Yeah. Do you have anything else?
No, I just want to say I truly, truly appreciate you coming up and showing up and sharing, because you said so many things on here that I still have to go do research on.
Yep,
and
me too.
I'm just like in shock at this point because I'm just like, how do I not know these things? But again, like, why would I know?
We're not educated on it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys giving me the platform to share my story for like the first time for people I don't know. So thank you. And if I could help one more woman, like just one more person, to get checked and kind of like be ahead of the game, then my mission is accomplished. And I'm happy with that.
100%. But thank you, Enid.
No problem.
And with that being said, bye.